Welcome back everyone! Today we're looking at the last match in the first week of the VPL between Mirabelle and Riona. So before we start this battle, I need to give you a little background information. We're gonna see Riona do something that's questionable. In hindsight, we know that she read the type chart the wrong way around. So what we're gonna see is Toxic being used on Corviknight several times in a row. And the explanation for that is that Riona probably thought that Toxic Pokemon are immune to Steel and not the other way around. Just a little heads up. Looking at the team preview, Great Tusk is insanely good into Riona's team. She hits 4 Pokemon for super effective damage, and Meowscarada and Corviknight handled the rest. So this one, team-wise, should be very easy for Mirabelle actually. Riona has to bring her A game to win this, and well, let's see here. We see Riona leading with Duraludon and Mirabelle leading with Great Tusk, and it's not looking good for Riona in the first turn. What Mirabelle can do here is a lot actually. Duraludon is very bulky when it carries the Eviolite as an item, but I think Great Tusk is so powerful that even if Duraludon has max HP and an Eviolite, Headlong Rush is probably gonna one-shot this. Stat Rock from Riona, and the Great Tusk is slower than the Duraludon. Oh no, it uses Raw, okay. So Raw forces the opponent to switch out and has negative priority, which is why Duraludon was faster here. I'm not sure why Mirabelle did this, because she was in a very advantageous position. She still is, but would Raw have chosen Quagsire, it would have looked very different for her. Bellibolt doesn't like the Earthquake, tanks it though. Riona clicks Volt Switch, and here's the first time we see her probably holding the type chart the other way around, because electric types are immune to ground in her world in this match. Ground types are immune to electric types, but for Riona it's the other way around apparently. Even though she just saw Great Tusk using Earthquake, a ground type move, against her electric type Pokemon. Bellibolt hard switches, and Mirabelle uses this opportunity to set up Stealth Rocks herself. Maybe she can get rid of her own Stealth Rocks now. She clicks Earthquake, which doesn't do much damage to Quagsire. Great Tusk gets Toxic, which is not great for Great Tusk, but it's very good for Riona, clicking Toxic here and maybe even forcing Great Tusk out. Yeah, we see Corviknight. Corviknight takes damage from rocks, so Corviknight doesn't carry the heavy duty boots. Earthquake doesn't affect Corviknight. Corviknight uses Defog, getting rid of both entry hazards. So Defog is an entry hazard removal that gets rid of the entry hazards on both sides. And here we see Riona clicking Toxic on Corviknight. The first time I would maybe think she predicted something. Mirabelle gets the flinch with Iron Head here. Again, the Iron Head. No flinch this time, but we see Toxic again. And yeah, like I said, she probably read the type chart the wrong way around. Mirabelle switches into Rotom Wash. The Hydro Pump kills the Bellibolt. And with Rotom Wash having Levitate as an ability, Hydro Pump doing so much damage, yeah. Riona probably didn't know this as well, what Levitate does. And she's Basically just switching Pokemon to try stuff. But yeah, she takes a lot of damage in the process. Future Sight is a good move, but with Mirabelle having a Dark type, it's not very... It's too early to pick that move. You see Goldango carrying the balloon, which is a good strat in this matchup. Shadow Ball does a lot of damage. Good as gold. So Goldango is one of the strongest abilities in the game, which is called Good as Gold, and what it does is it makes it immune against status moves. So you can't use status moves against Goldango. Defog is a status move, for example, and since Goldango is a ghost type, you can't rapid spin against Goldango, which makes Goldango the best hazard removal blocker in the game. This was a very good turn from Riona. Future Sight does the rest here and takes down Great Tusk. Miascada threatens basically Riona's entire team. Knockoff does not much damage, it's a crit though, and it gets rid of Conkeldurr's item. No wait, it didn't even have an item. Corviknight doesn't take the Drain Punch too well actually. We see the Mug Punch. Yeah, Mirabelle just roosts. She can probably go for Brave Bird now. She gets a lot of recoil damage probably, but that's 80%. 80% is so much damage. She switches out to Rotom Wash, which is probably her physical wall, I wanted to say, but we see the crit on Drain Punch. Rotom Wash is faster and kills Conkeldurr with the Hydro Pump. Riona goes out into Quagsire and uses her Terrestrialization to, I don't know, get hit from Rotom's electric attacks, I guess. So the Terra type here wasn't very good because the matchup against Rotom was way better in her original defensive typing. You saw how much the Hydro Pump did, so this Quagsire is not Water Absorb, it's Unaware probably, I hope. We see another Toxic on Corviknight in the switch though, and we see the switch to Goldango again. Mirabelle uses this to roost up, probably predicting the switch, and goes out into Entei. Entei catches the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is a very good move in this situation. Duraludon comes out to tank the Sacred Fire maybe. This is where the match gets exciting. So we see the Dracometer doing almost half to Munkidori, but Munkidori can't do much against Duraludon, but Duraludon can't do much against Munkidori anymore since its special attack dropped. The Psychic does 31%, which is huge actually, considering Wild Press did what, 15% or something? Riona sets up Stealth Rocks very late and switches into Psychic, breaking the balloon, which is, I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Entei can just safely click Sacred Fire here if it's faster. It is. It one-shots Goldango, the crit didn't matter, and since it's faster than Quagsire now, and Quagsire is weak to fire now, Entei clicks Sacred Fire again, and it can click a third Sacred Fire to kill Duraludon. And with that, Mirabelle won this match 5-0. Riona had some trouble reading the type charts, but she still managed to make a few good plays here and there. I'm really excited to see how she evolves over the course of the league. If she gets the type chart down, there's definitely a lot of potential here. Mirabelle was much more knowledgeable in this match, and her 5-0 win makes that very clear. Her team was well prepared for Riona's roster, and in team preview you could really tell that Mirabelle had the easier path here. All in all, a nice battle from both trainers. I'm looking forward to seeing how they both develop, and yeah, I guess I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching.